Madison. Get up. 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 Whoa. Whoa. Back.
Look
Whoa.
at that.
Thank you, sir. Get up.
Hey, everybody.
Get up.
I am so glad you are here, sir, and this will be a wonderful day. And be easy on James Monroe.
I will do my best.
I want you to meet Jennifer Wender.
An absolute pleasure. Yes, thank you for being here.
Joseph Outway, I'll come to see you.
I have some business of cabinet making to speak to you.
Okay.
Very good. I shall wait here for Colonel Monroe. Allow our civilities to be present. Absolutely.
Well, if it is not my Hector, my Hannibal, Mr. Monroe.
Don't forget where your church. Whoa. Step there. This young lady wants to ride.
Mr. Monroe, thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely.
Madison? Shall we, sir? Fast.
Honor.
Director of Historic Germanna, and it is an honor to be here today. I'd like to thank all of you at Hebron, especially Pastor Jim Knisley, and all of our Germanna reunion and conference goers. This is the last event of what's been a very, very busy few days. Now, I wanted to I was thinking about what to say about this event, and I am by far not the scholar of this event. But I will say that I've had the honor of working with and learning about the Germanna colonists. And so, as all of you know, this church was constructed by the Germanna colonists here in the Robinson River Valley. Now, most of you also know that there was two original colonies that came here, the first one in 1714 and the second one in 1717. The vast majority of the congregants here at Hebron came from that second colony. But just to set the stage a little bit for how important and monumental this debate would have been in 1789, imagine 1714, 1717, Germans coming from their homeland that had been ravaged by war for decades, coming out of what was known as the Little Ice Age, which ruined their crops, coming out of religious persecution in many instances, coming here on a boat that took weeks to a land that was the frontier, not intending for the second colony to actually be the indentured servants that they were forced to be. After 7 years of labor, they left and they went here. They bought land, they became naturalized citizens, they built this church. And then in 1775, many of them became part of the militia. They fought in the Revolutionary War. Many of the congregants that would have been here for this debate actually would have been at the last battle of the American Revolution in 1781 in Yorktown. And that would have only been less than 8 years before they would be witnessing this debate. The Declaration of Independence would have only been signed about 6 months before this debate took place. George Washington would be elected president only a few months later. What the people of Hebron were doing is they were choosing who they were going to vote for to represent them in Congress. And at the time, the ratification of the Constitution was so new, they were still debating whether or not we were going to have a Bill of Rights and what was going to be in it. Now, the result of this election ended up being won by only 300 votes. Now, how much of that was because of the descendants, or because of your ancestors that were in this congregation? It really formed the future of this country. So this debate that we're hearing today that swayed the voters in Hebron really set the course of the nation. And so to be here today as part of the Germanna Conference, to have all of you, a lot of you who are descended from the people who were here that day, it's extraordinarily powerful, and I'm honored to be here in front of you. And with that, I'd really like to welcome James Madison and James Monroe.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Colonel Monroe and I are excessively pleased to join you on this frigidly cold January morning in what is the custom of Virginia to hold weather that is as confused as the current situation of government. No pun intended. My worthy friends, 13 years ago, we embarked upon a particular experiment. An experiment that philosophy has waited for, an experiment that humanity has sighed for, from the furthest reaches of our common experience. Almost 13 years ago, we resolved unanimously for an independency from Great Britain and reared new political charters, deriving their energy not from the power of kings, of crowns, but rather instead from the legitimate power of the people coming together and endeavoring to govern themselves. A bloody war was fought in pursuit of this singular aspiration and hope, a government derived from the rights of human nature. Many among us still carry the evidence and scars from that late war. And 2 years ago in Philadelphia City, a very different war was waged. A war not of blood, not of blades, but of ideas. A road forward for this infant American experiment. A federal constitution, which in this previous year of 1788 was ratified by the majority of states, and now finds itself endeavoring to equip with, we hope, adequate statesmen. At this present moment, myself, James Madison, and my worthy friend, Colonel James Monroe, are endeavoring to pass through areas that will compose the 6th District of the 1st Congress of the United States. That journey has been hard, but one that we have made together. The frigid cold has made travel very, very difficult. I lost a piece of my nose to frostbite, and, I confess I have suffered, by many instances, by my worthy friend Mr. Monroe's popularity. It is no wonder that when the time came to draw the first congressional districts, the Virginia General Assembly ensured that Mr. Monroe's district would be included in mine. Was it the last place we stopped, Colonel Monroe, that I paid for a gentleman to be brought by a sedan chair to hear us speak, and upon speaking, promptly gave his vote to you?
Was that a court day in Louisa County?
Yes, it was. And so here we are, at this present minute, the two long-standing friends who, despite some political differences, have been thrust into a rivalry to endeavor to earn your vote and your confidence to represent you in the road ahead. We find ourselves, friends, affixed at yet another beginning. And indeed, in America's short history, it is a strange thing to so soon after this egg of independency has been hatched to find ourselves in yet another beginning. Yet we hold at this present moment a hope that in that beginning we may hold the optimism the confidence, and indeed, we hope, the admiration of an enlightened people. We two men are pleased to stand here today to reflect upon our hopes of what this government will be, and indeed, what our hopes for America will be. And with that, I will happily yield the floor to the
Well
gentleman.
played off of the sermon, Mr.
You know, I attended every word.
I shall start by apologizing for any offense that might be given from anything that I might say here, as I consider myself duty-bound to offer up my free and open opinion upon the subjects to be spoken of today. I would find myself to be most dishonorable to be withholding said opinions before the public scrutiny during a time in which, through your suffrage, your representative to carry the voices of these constituents of this 5th district is about to be chosen. Furthermore, this is an especially concerning time, as whomever you choose to represent you in New York will undoubtedly be amongst those to help settle upon the changes and alterations to our new system of government that many throughout the country have called for and have been promised. When you did me the honor to elect me into the convention to decide for you upon the Constitution submitted to the states from Philadelphia, I had not at that time examined it with that attention as its importance required. And so I could have given you no decided opinion respecting it. However, after you have reposed that trust in me at that convention, it became my duty to pay it a more serious attention. Having given it my best investigation that I am capable of, and perhaps informed some measure my opinion of its merits, subject, however, to alterations when I shall see that I am in error, I should think myself unpardonable if I was withholding it all from you, rather than to impose an opinion and thereby risking offense. I should only refer to proposed questions for the public scrutiny by offering up honest questions to which I claim not know the answer. I'll leave the debate into your hands. The root of the word question is quest. So by doing so, my only hope is to take my audience, or anyone listening, on a journey of sorts. And the treasure at the end of this journey together is hopefully an answer to a question, or possibly some movement towards an answer. And in exploring that, an open and honest manner, that we thereby wrestle with our differences in opinion, and thereby hopefully achieve some compromise for the greater good. Furthermore, it should be noted that by inviting you all into this dialogue, the engagement upon these questions is a playful one, not a tyrannical one. To those unfamiliar to me, I am Colonel James Monroe of Spotsylvania County, soon to be of Albemarle County. I should like to think one's reputation equal to the task of convincing you all for your vote. But since many may be unfamiliar, let me begin by making you all aware of my past service to my country and to my state, in hopes that might very well continue. Mine began in the Army during our struggle for independence as a junior officer in the 3rd Virginia Regiment, with whom I saw action at Harlem and Brooklyn, then into New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That following winter, my service was suspended while convalescing from a severe wound sustained during our attack upon Trenton. After a promotion, I continued as a member of General Alexander's military family, taking part in actions in Brandywine, Germantown, and Monmouth, as well as that fateful winter at Valley Forge. Another promotion within a very, very top-heavy army led me back to resume my studies in Williamsburg for the law, where I began reading for the law under Governor Jefferson, after handing him a letter of recommendation from General Washington. He promoted me to lieutenant colonel of Virginia militia and sent me on a special mission to the Carolina. By the war's end, I became a member of the Council of State as a member of the Virginia Assembly and served in the Confederated Congress the following year. Of the events that I have just described, in regards to the late war, though, I was nothing more than a mere youth, and I count for nothing in comparison to those men whose direction the course of our new nation was being steered. Mr. Madison was among them. The most important of my accomplishments today, though, are in that of being a husband and father. While my opponent is a esteemed and wise gentleman, the wisest are not without fault, but may also be prone to error, as we might also find in their products, such as our new form of government. I shouldn't think it necessary to spend much time addressing the need for amendments for the enumeration of our natural rights as recognized by the new government. In this, Mr. Madison and I are in an agreement. We have many examples throughout the globe, which Jefferson is now endeavoring to send to us, being presently adopted, as well as our own Virginia Declaration of Rights, with which to hold up as examples. I should only like to make known to you all that my advocacy for a bill of enumerated rights has been consistent since the document has been held up to the public flag. Prior to its ratification, though, Mr. Madison was opposed to the addition of such amendments, only now conceding to the contrary. I, however, maintain a consistency on the matter. Mr. Madison and I are aware of the power yielded by Virginia's religious dissenters. And by voting together, as you often have, you Lutherans may wield the potential for swaying this election, as has been done in the past, by the Baptists included. So it is unto you all here that we appeal to faith. I shall then, however, spend my limited time questioning just a few of the additional amendments that may be offered up to better maintain the sovereignty of these individual states. The power to impose direct taxation is one issue. Those in the Federalist camp find fault. The demands and the necessities of government are now greater than they will ever be hereafter. because of the expensive war in which we were engaged, which cost us the blood of our best citizens and which ended so gloriously. Are we not at peace with no war on the horizon? The only semblance thereof could possibly be with the Creek nation, far to the southeast, with whom we are currently pursuing a treaty by Benjamin Hawkins, which will inevitably be achieved. Could the impost on imported goods fully fund all legitimate activities of the new government? If it did, there are several other methods of replacing revenue besides resorting to a direct tax. The sale of the great lands to the west and the north, with their navigable rivers, the rich and fertile soils. They would also provide us many revenue streams for this new government. Might the impost and the sale of these western lands be insufficient? Well, the government could secure a loan using these lands as collateral. If funds are still insufficient, could the government not requisition the states? Consider the territory laying between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mississippi. It far exceeds that of the German Empire. It is larger than any territory that ever was under any free form of government. It is too extensive to be governed but by a despotic monarchy. Could taxes be laid justly and equally in such a territory? Because if a direct tax on land was imposed, it would cause landholders to suffer, while people engaged in commerce or the arts, they'd be free of paying any tax at all. So, should each person be taxed the same amount individually? Well, if so, large landowners, they wouldn't be paying their fair share. The poor would suffer more for that. Commerce with Spain is another issue. Navigation of the Mississippi. Crucial to the success and happiness of those now settling the territories to the west. It will need to be secured. One should not be relinquished in keeping the other. I myself was paid in Kentucky bounty land for my military service. The sale of this land will allow me to become quite landed in Albemarle County very soon. Should the buyer of this land be denied navigability of the Ohio and the Mississippi rivers? Or should it be fully guaranteed by the government to encourage the settlement of the Northwest Territories? I also believe some alterations to the structure of the executive and electorate system may reduce our potential for foreign interference in our federal elections, as well as restore some of the sovereignty to the states. I, as others have proposed, believe that a popular vote would be more practical. Does the state in which he who holds the office of vice president resides favor the Senate in the case of breaking a tie? As remote as this possibility could be. Does that not give this state give the state 3 senators instead of 2? Should the process of impeachment be strict enough to ensure that the executive could prevent him from becoming a monarch? And how will this be enforced? Of these and other matters that may come to the attention of this new Congress, I should like laid open to debate. More important, let us examine the matters of inquiry, comments, or concerns that may be present here today, so as to let what disparities of opinion between Mr. Madison and I be shown, so as to grant you all the ultimate form of freedom, the freedom of choice. Thank you.
Colonel Monroe, would you count me upon this instance, affixed with opportunity, to offer rebuttal?
Oh, of course.
The worthy gentleman has proffered and put forward oppositions we have seen in surplus from the faction that consider themselves anti-federalist, and particularly oppositions that have been synonymous with any who have sought political office. He has incited fear of taxation, the size of government. I am called by some the father of this general system of government. It is an eponym I am not yet comfortable with, nor will claim myself. It was drafted by 55 gentlemen, debated by significantly more over the course of this past year, and government, my friends, is not like the fabled goddess of wisdom, the work of one mind. But Colonel Monroe, you were there and present in Richmond in June of last year, where, within a theater of all places, Virginia debated its constitution. And there is a gentleman who has made his sentiments very well regarded and well known upon the Constitution. I will not speak his name out of honor. But if Patrick Henry were here, rest assured,
my worthy friends, that with a simple clearing of his throat, he would cancel any argument we made for or against the business, and this conversation would not be sustained. There is, of course, a repast waiting, so I will endeavor to be brief upon it. In that debate in Richmond, we saw fears of sovereignty upon the Mississippi River, taxation remarked upon, the absence of a Bill of Rights, and indeed we saw all things debated save for the credibility or viability of the Constitution itself. And at this present moment, there are many who see a fix to amend and alter the powers of government. But here is a thought, ladies and gentlemen. Will our government and the ministers of it be any purer in their intentions than this present moment? If we accept that a system of government begins to die almost as soon as it is constituted, if we accept that a government grows corrupt over time, if we accept that like the mortal body, en media vitae and morte sumus, in the middle of life we are in death, and we can accept that at least at this moment of invention, those involved with this government will endeavor to move as close in concert as possible. So will these fears that Colonel Monroe proffers and puts forward regarding powers be executed over time? Yes. But what clockmaker, upon constituting his works, will endeavor to perfect the keeping of time before it is allowed to run an hour's late? Now, regarding that which is at present missing under the federal Constitution, the absence of a Bill of Rights, the gentleman proffered and put forward that I was in opposition to it. And there are many who say so, our dear friend Mr. Jefferson in France. It is not that I am not in favor of a Bill of Rights. It is simply that I did not believe it wholly necessary, and I will explain why. In 1776, we wholly declared that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are so naturally, since the inception of our independence, all of these sacred rights of human nature have been wholly secured, yes? Never in the 13 years of America's existence have we seen rights violated upon the subjects of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. In 1776, in Williamsburg, it was declared for the first time that all should enjoy the free exercise of religion according to the dictates of conscience. This amendment, proffered, by the way, by a very shy, soft-spoken, and excessively handsome legislature from Orange County. And what have we seen? What have you seen? You followers of the Lutheran faith, have you seen security in your religious opinion? Perhaps more than the Baptists. There are still, Colonel Monroe, certain county jails referred to as Baptist prayer houses. What I will say in regards to where you hold your vote is that in me you will have the greatest defender of your religious liberty, because while yes, my mind has changed and wavered, there is one thing for certain, that since entering into the contemplation of political precepts, I have never deviated from. The human mind is meant to be unshackled. Opinion is meant to be free, and faith, above all else, is the greatest property that can be possessed. I have long supported dissenting faiths, passing Mr. Jefferson's statutes for religious freedom just several years ago, defending religious freedom within the General Assembly of Virginia, and upon election have already offered promise to many supporters whose allegiances have been questioned with my reluctance of a Bill of Rights, that upon election and entrance into Congress, amendments to this Constitution will indeed be put forward to enumerate liberties and, above all, to ensure greater protections upon faith. Here is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. I spoke that this system of government and the ministers of it will never be purer in its intentions than this present moment. We two gentlemen who are standing in opposition of one another will, upon leaving, saddle our horses and travel together in convivial friendship to the next place. There are many who come in a semblance expecting that we ought keep 2 sword lengths apart. I suspect perhaps many of you are disappointed, but we have not.
No, in fact, in finding you without a clean shirt this morning. He's actually wearing my shirt right now. Truth be told, he wrote my opening statement. That's what I asked in return for this shirt.
It is somewhat tight around the middle, but it is well longer. The truth in faith, my worthy friends, is that wheresoever your vote lies, you may hold the confidence that it rests in the hands of a capable man. It has been said of Colonel Monroe, you may turn him inside out and find nary a blemish, and I, his opponent at this present moment, with nothing great to gain by saying it, will agree. And so wheresoever your vote is placed, worry not about the fear, but rather instead the hope of what may come from this yet to be tested new system of government. Imagine how an experiment of government that many, an experience says is impossible, may yet succeed in this new world of America. Imagine what that may do for your faith, your family, your liberty, and above all, your lives. Friends, we will leave you happily with this. Upon leaving the State House after the Constitutional Convention, Dr. Benjamin Franklin gestured to the chair that George Washington, the presiding officer of that convention, occupied. Upon the chair, a half sun was carved in relief. Dr. Franklin said he had deliberated with himself over the course of the convention whether indeed it was a rising sun or a setting sun. He confided at close that it was indeed a rising sun. Dawn, my dear friends, brings with it potential, not certainty. We may be blessed for yet another day, but those days are what we make them. So in this new dawn, whosoever you vote for, my worthy friend or myself, accept the reins of America's destiny, the fate of the American Revolution, remains capably within your hands. Until we meet again, we remain humbly yours, James Madison, Colonel James Monroe.